You have more neighbors than most people will ever have as friends, and you don't know a single one of them. I live in a building with over 500 people in it, 50 floors. I'm in the elevator 8, sometimes 10 times a day. In 10 months, I've had maybe a dozen real conversations with another human being in this building. Not friendships, just conversations. The kind that last longer than 4 seconds. Now here's the part that should bother you. I'm not a shut-in. I'm not hiding from anybody. I walk past Northwestern Hospital multiple times a day, every day. There are people on those sidewalks at every hour. Doctors, nurses, families, joggers, dog walkers, all of it. I'm there constantly, and I don't talk to anybody because almost nobody does. And once you notice that, you can't stop seeing it. Watch a sidewalk sometime. I mean, really watch it. Strangers pass each other every 4 or 5 seconds in a city like this, and almost none of them look at each other. Not a nod, not eye contact, just nothing. Even in the park with dogs, which is supposed to be a great social lubricant of your adult life, people stand in their own little zones, their own dog, their own patch of grass, a polite distance from the next person doing the exact same thing. 2 dogs run at each other. Sure, you get like 30 seconds of small talk while you separate them, but that's not exactly connection. But some people in my building have actually cracked this, so I know it's possible. There's a handful of residents who actually hang out with the concierge, 30, 40 minutes at a time, like old friends. There's a dog run where people let their dogs off leash together while they chat. Now, I don't know if these people knew each other before they moved in or if they built it slowly, showing up at the same time every day for months. I've never been there long enough to find out. I see it happening. I'm just never the one doing it. It's the same variance you get with any stranger you're stuck with for a few minutes. Some people want to talk and some don't. And you can't really tell what's what or who's who until you're already in it. An Uber driver, the concierge, a neighbor in the elevator. It's the same math every time. The difference is, in an Uber, you're stuck with them for 20 minutes either way, so somebody usually breaks the ice out of sheer awkwardness. In my building, the ride is over in under a minute. Just short enough that the silence is always the easier choice, and just long enough that if we ever actually talked, we'd probably have something to say. Plus, you get that weird moment of anxiety when one of yours ride is over and you don't know if you've had enough interaction to warrant throwing out a "have a good one" or not. Now, here's how it gets worse, because I've actually thought about why. An elevator ride costs you nothing. There's no real rejection available in a 45-second trip to the lobby. Worst case, someone throws out one word and you both stare at your phones the rest of the ride. It's about as close to a zero-risk conversation as exists in adult life. And people still won't do it, including me. So whatever's stopping us in that elevator, it isn't fear of rejection. There's nothing on the table to reject. It's a rule nobody wrote down and every single person in the building signed on to without ever discussing it. And I found out there's actually a name for this, and it's older than you probably think. A sociologist named Erving Goffman studied this exact behavior back in the 1960s and called it civil inattention, the specific ritual of acknowledging a stranger just enough to prove you notice them and then withdrawing before anything resembling a conversation can start. A glance, a half nod. He wasn't writing about apps. There were no apps, which means this isn't new, and it isn't a phone problem, and it's also not a modern collapse of manners problem. People have been doing this exact uncomfortable dance in elevators and on sidewalks for at least 60 years. What's changed isn't the behavior, it's that somebody finally built a separate room on your phone, specifically exempted from the ritual, where the entire point is you're supposed to break it. My building has a pool, a full gym, 2 separate common areas specifically so residents can hang out to get to know each other. I've lived here almost a year, and I've never once stepped foot in any of it. Not once. It's not to brag. I'm just telling you this because I think it's the whole point. There's no rule that says I can't go there and talk to people. I just don't. And I'll bet good money most of the 500 people living in this building are exactly the same. The gym is there, the pool is there, and most of them have never used any of it for what it was actually built for, which is meeting each other. Stay with me, because this next part is one that actually changed how I think about all of it. Here's the easy version of this story. Blame the building, blame the city, blame the apps, modern life, heads down, headphones in. Everybody's a stranger to everybody else. The story isn't wrong, it's just not the whole thing. Because the building doesn't stop anyone from talking, and the sidewalk doesn't stop anyone. I don't stop anyone from talking to me. If somebody starts a conversation with me in the elevator, I always finish it. I'm not rude. I'm not closed off once it's already happening. I just never start it. That's the actual finding, if there is one. It was never access. It was never opportunity. Everybody in that building has the same elevator I do, the same lobby, the same gym nobody ever uses. It's initiation. Somebody has to go first, and almost nobody, myself included, is willing to be the one who does, even when going first costs nothing at all. Now stretch that out to dating, because that's actually what this show is about, and this isn't a detour from it. People love to say dating apps ruined everything. They killed the organic way people used to meet. At the coffee shop, in the elevator, at the dog run. But look at what's actually happening in the elevator, in the dog run, and at the coffee shop. Nothing. Nobody's doing the organic thing anymore. Building or no building, app or no app. The opportunity to meet someone in the wild never went anywhere. What disappeared is people's willingness to take it. Because nobody wants to be the freak that dared to say something to someone else in the wild and end up getting posted about as the weirdo who said something to me while waiting at the light today. Apps didn't kill organic meeting. Apps got invented because organic meeting was already dead, and somebody needed to build a place where the rule was flipped, where you were expected to say something first, because otherwise nobody ever would. That's the whole business model. Permission. The app is just a building with a sign on the door that says you're allowed to talk here. Turns out that was the only thing that was ever missing. Think about how strange that actually is for a second. Two people can live on the same floor, ride the same elevator every single day for a year, and never say a word to each other. Put those same two people on an app, geographically nowhere near each other, complete strangers, and they type paragraphs back and forth at midnight. Same species, as far as I know, same willingness to connect, completely different rules about when it's allowed. It explains something that used to confuse me. Why total strangers will message each other for hours on an app, but those same two people would never say a word to each other in an elevator or grocery line. People didn't get worse at talking to each other. They'll only do it in a room where it's allowed. Take that room away and everybody reverts back to silence. And somewhere along the way, we all agreed to only do the first one, then acted surprised when the second one got difficult. I'll give you one thing this week that actually broke the pattern for me, and it wasn't a person, and it wasn't an app either. I finished a painting, 40 inches by 80 inches. Big enough it took over my living room for a month trying to match another piece I'd seen, getting it exactly right, which took a lot longer than I expected for a first attempt at anything that size. People have started noticing it, coming over, asking about it, actually talking to me about something specific for more than 4 seconds. That's the one thing all month that pulled a real conversation out of somebody. Not the elevator or the dog run or the sidewalk. A 40 by 80 inch piece of canvas on my wall. People don't need permission to talk to you. They need a reason. So give them one. And the initiation problem solves itself without anyone having to be brave about it. Everybody in this building is walking around with a version of that painting available to them. Some story, some object, some open door, and never hanging it up. Meanwhile, there's a dog in my apartment who has it all figured out better than any of us. Holly waits by my front door every day when I leave for work. Doesn't matter if it's 4 hours or 8 hours, she's got a bed there and she stays in it the entire time I'm gone. Doesn't wander into the living room, doesn't touch the television I leave on dog TV for her every day, all day. Just waits, watching the door for as long as it takes. She doesn't need 30 feet of elevator small talk to know she's got somebody. She doesn't need a sign on the door telling her it's allowed. She already knows. 500 people in the building are still working on it. And apparently, so am I.